The silence in this house is a living thing, heavy and suffocating. Mark's absence has become a constant, a dull ache that never quite fades. I watch him, a stranger in my own home, his eyes fixed on his laptop, his mind miles away. Liam, though, he sees me. He sees the way Mark's neglect claws at me, the way I shrink into the shadows of this empty marriage. He's always there, a quiet presence, his gaze lingering, his touch a spark I shouldn't feel. A shared glance in the kitchen, a brief brush of hands in the hallway, each moment a dangerous whisper of something more. One night, the air crackles with unspoken tension. We're in the living room, the flickering light of the television casting shadows across his face. He looks at me, really looks at me, and I see a reflection of my own loneliness, my own desperate need for connection. He doesn't deserve you, he says, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through me. The words, raw and honest, hang in the air, a forbidden truth I can no longer ignore. I feel a pull, a dangerous, irresistible pull towards him. My heart pounds against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence. I want to scream, to shatter the facade of my perfect life, to confess the emptiness that has consumed me. He reaches for my hand, his touch sending a jolt of electricity through my veins. I don't pull away. I can't. The world narrows, the only reality his touch, his gaze. The air is thick with unspoken desires, a dangerous dance we both know we're about to begin. I feel a tear escape, a silent acknowledgement of the longing that has festered within me. He wipes it away, his fingers lingering on my cheek. You're so beautiful, he whispers, his voice a caress. The words, simple and true, break the dam I've built around my heart. I lean in, drawn to him like a moth to a flame, knowing I'm playing with fire. The kitchen light cast long shadows as we washed dishes, a forced intimacy after Mark's rushed departure. Liam's hand brushed mine, a deliberate touch that sent a shiver down my spine. We lingered, the silence charged with unspoken words. He asked about my day, a simple question that felt loaded with meaning. I found myself confessing the small, suffocating details of my life, the way Mark's absence had become a constant ache. Liam listened, his eyes holding mine with an intensity that made me feel seen, truly seen, for the first time in years. We moved to the living room, the quiet hum of the television a thin veil over our growing tension. He sat beside me, close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from his body. My heart pounded, a frantic rhythm against the silence. He reached for my hand, his touch sending a jolt of electricity through my veins. You deserve more, he whispered, his voice a low rumble that vibrated through me. The words, raw and honest, hung in the air, a forbidden truth I could no longer ignore. I felt a pull, a dangerous, irresistible pull towards him. My breath hitched as he traced the line of my jaw, his touch sending a wave of heat through me. I leaned in, drawn to him like a moth to a flame, knowing I was playing with fire. The world narrowed, the only reality his touch, his gaze. His lips brushed against mine, a feather-light touch that ignited a fire within me. The kiss deepened, a desperate, hungry exploration of forbidden desire. I pulled away, breathless and trembling, my eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. This is wrong, I whispered, my voice barely audible. But the words felt hollow, a lie I couldn't believe. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a raw intensity that mirrored my own. I know, he said, his voice husky with desire. But I can't stop. And neither could I. The air crackled with unspoken desires, a dangerous dance we both knew we were about to begin. The need for his touch, for his attention, overwhelmed every sense of reason. I knew I was crossing a line I could never uncross. Yet, I felt a strange sense of liberation, a release from the suffocating confines of my marriage. I wanted him, desperately, completely. The guilt was a constant, a gnawing ache in my stomach, but the desire was a fire that burned hotter. Every stolen moment, every whispered word, every touch, was a dangerous thrill. We met in the shadows of the house, in the empty spaces Mark never occupied. The kitchen, late at night, the living room while he worked, the places that were ours now. The risk was a constant buzz, a dangerous undercurrent to our passion. I'd flinch at the sound of Mark's key in the door, my heart pounding against my ribs, the scent of Liam still lingering on my skin. One night, the tension reached a breaking point. We were in his room, the air thick with unspoken desires. His hands moved over my body, exploring every curve, every secret place. I arched beneath him, my breath coming in ragged gasps. "I want you," I whispered, the words a desperate plea. He looked at me, his eyes dark with passion. "I know," he said, his voice husky with desire. The world narrowed, the only reality his touch, his gaze. I felt a wave of dizziness, a sense of falling, as he moved inside me. The pleasure was sharp, intense, a forbidden ecstasy that consumed me. I clung to him, my nails digging into his skin, my body shuddering with release. The aftermath was a haze of guilt and desire, a tangled mess of emotions I couldn't unravel. I knew I was playing with fire, that I was risking everything. But the pull was too strong, the need too desperate. I looked at Liam, his eyes filled with a raw intensity that mirrored my own. I knew, in that moment, that there was no turning back. The consequences loomed, a dark cloud on the horizon, but for now, in this stolen moment, I was lost in him. The feeling was intoxicating and destructive. I felt a sharp pang of fear and the adrenaline that came with being caught. I knew this could destroy everything, but I couldn't bring myself to care. Not yet.